Okay, so welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be covering the ever important unit circle. Okay, and I'm actually going to make this a set of videos because I want to go into good detail here. This is a very important piece of information that is used very much throughout Algebra 2, trig, pre-calculus, calculus, and so on and so on. It's a very important topic, so I want to break this up into multiple videos so I don't overwhelm you guys with like a 45-minute long video. Okay, so what is a unit circle? Well, unit circle is just a circle. All right, there we got a little circle right here in our xy coordinate plane. That is centered at the origin. Okay, and another important fact about the unit circle is that the radius of the unit circle, is 1. Okay, now with the unit circle, we're going to be constructing this using special right triangles. That's why we covered those special right triangles in previous videos, our 30, 60, 90, and our 45, 45, 90. We're going to break this circle up into all those special right triangles, okay? Because what we need to do is use those special right triangles to try to figure out what the heck these coordinates would be. Okay? Now, what I can do is I can drop this down and make this a right triangle. Okay, and this angle here, this angle of rotation, I'm going to call it theta. Okay, I'm going to call it theta. Now, since this is a right triangle, we can use some right triangle trig, right? SOHCAHTOA to find out what this coordinate is. Okay, now we know that the radius of the circle is 1, which actually means that the hypotenuse of this right triangle is 1. Okay, but I don't know what these coordinates are. What I do know is that I went this far along the x-axis to get to that point, so I'm going to call this length here x, which is going to be the x-coordinate, and I traveled up this many units along the y-axis to hit the y-coordinate, so I'm going to call this y. Okay, now that might not seem important, but it actually very much is. Okay, because now I can actually use SOHCAHTOA. I can use this right triangle trig to find out what these two lengths are. Okay, because I'm actually going to know what this angle is because we rotated this theta degrees, okay, or theta radians. I can rotate 30 degrees, I can rotate 210 degrees, I can rotate 280 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to know what this angle is. So if I wanted to find this x-coordinate right here in this right triangle, which is going to be the x-coordinate of the point of intersection, I can use right triangle trig. Well, if I know theta, I know the hypotenuse, x is the adjacent leg. What's that? That's cosine. So I can say cosine of theta is the adjacent leg x over the hypotenuse, which is 1. And that actually brings us to a very important piece of information. Cosine of theta is equal to x. What does that mean? Well, that means that to find the x-coordinate, I can just do cosine of whatever that angle is. So cosine of theta is equal to x. That means the x-coordinate is cosine of whatever this angle is. So if it was a 45-degree measure, x would be cosine of 45. If it was a 190-degree measure, the x-coordinate would be cosine of 190. That's very important. Okay, and how would I find the y? How would I find a y-coordinate? Well, the y-coordinate is the opposite leg, so I can use sine. Let me move this down a little bit. I can use sine of theta. Sine of theta would be the opposite leg y over the hypotenuse, which is 1, which boils down to sine of theta is equal to y. So that means that to find the y-coordinate, I can do sine of whatever that angle is. So if that was a 50-degree measure, I can do sine of 50 to find what that y-coordinate would be. If it was, let's say, 95 degrees, I can do sine of 95 to find out what that angle is. Okay, and that's how we're going to find all of these important pieces of information. Okay, we're going to be doing cosine of whatever angle that is and sine of whatever that angle is. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. We're going to pick up in a little bit. All right, but we're going to be using these important pieces of information to break down the unit circle. Okay, and when we break down the unit circle, we want to find what all the angle measures are in degrees and radians and what all the coordinates are. So we're going to be filling in this bad boy right here. All right, and until the next video, goodbye.